Hey everybody, welcome. I'm not in the carport because it's dark and rainy and cold. It's a February day in Western Pennsylvania. But last fall, I spent some time putting in some backup cameras into Hank and Izzy. I had a lot of people asking me questions about that install. So here's a little tutorial that I put together in nicer weather about how I did it. It takes a little bit of time to run the RCA cable to the back from the head unit, but this first part's pretty easy. You can fish it up in there with a coat hanger. Then this pops out. You can slide it right underneath it here. Once you get to here, things start to get a little bit more tricky. In reality, it's not all that bad. You just have to do it in steps. So this comes off with a flathead screwdriver, and you can fish a wire through there. After that, what I did was I took this out and then popped these two pins out, and you can really pull it down and then just slide it underneath there. You can see it sticks out a little bit even there at the end, but it doesn't really matter because that all gets covered up by the spare tire cover anyway. In order to get the head unit to switch automatically over to the backup camera when you put it in reverse, you're going to need a trigger signal. We're going to pull that trigger signal out of the reverse light, so that'll send an electrical signal to the head unit and switch it over automatically. There's two screws that you take out here, put a flathead screwdriver in there and gently pop it out. This one right here is the reverse light, so we're going to tap into that. Once we get tapped into the reverse light power, then we've got to feed this wire the whole way through so that it comes out here where the light for the license plate is. So we've got to feed it into the body, and then underneath of this, down here, into the wheel, into the spare tire wheel well, and then out into here. So it's probably the hardest and the most frustrating part of the whole process. Alternatively, from some of the things I'm doing, you could take off this panel, which would make it a lot easier, but I really don't want to do that. When you go to fish it through, if you reach your finger in and down a little bit, there's an opening that lets you into the inside of the car. And I was having trouble getting it through, but then I pulled this off and was able to get the other end of the wire. Was having a hard time having it make that turn and come out. Once I opened this up, easy peasy. To gain access to the inside of the tailgate, first we need to get this lever off of here, or the knob off the end of the lever. So it's pretty easy, you just pry it off. Then we'll need to take that screw out. Then this piece will pop out, and then it's just a matter of going around and unsnapping the clips in there. Start with a flathead, get the first one, and then you can do the rest by hand. Every once in a while, one of these snaps will stay stuck in the door, and so you just need to pull it out and then slide it back into place where it belongs. We're also going to need to get access underneath of this panel. So again, it's all popped on, but before you can unpop it, you've got to take off the license plate. And then there's 3 of these on either side. And this is what we need access to in order to run the wires back into the tailgate. Now we need to run 2 wires through here. The first one is pretty easy. It's the power wire. On the other end, it is open, so you're just running the wire through. This one, however, is going to be a challenge. It's got the video feed plug at the end of it. I've gone ahead and put some dish soap on it, and then actually I've created a loop in here. I'm going to run this through and have it pull right about on here so that the plug doesn't go into there until I get the cable through, and then I can start pulling a little bit harder on it. After getting the video feed through, I've hooked it up to the power supply that comes from the reverse lights. run all of that through here. Now I just need to get it all back and put together. A few of the things I learned from doing that project, the one was I pulled the power supply from the passenger side. Next time I'm going to do it from the driver's side, because on the passenger side you've got the old cigarette lighter style 12 volt port in the back, and I tapped that with my feed wire and I blew a fuse up in the fuse box. So I'm going to do it from the other side next time to eliminate that possibility. Once you have that power supply, then just keep in mind that does two things. The one is it actually powers the camera, and the other one is it sends a trigger signal back up to the head unit so that the head unit knows to switch over automatically to the backup camera. If you don't have that wired in, you'll probably have to go in manually and change it to the reverse depending on your head unit. When I first thought about putting one of these backup cameras in, I thought that's just lazy. Who can't just turn their head around and look out the back window and see what they're doing? But I've actually had the head unit out for a few weeks now working on something else, and I kind of miss it. So you do get accustomed to these things, and it has its advantages. So if you're happy with what we're doing here and you want to see more, don't forget to go ahead and hit the subscribe button and like this video and just spread the word. Thanks.